Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhineet Shukla and with me is Reshma Tiwari, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India and Iran discuss maritime trade to expand trade between Central Asian countries with South Asian, ASEAN and Japan. 12 people killed in Mogadishu hotel attack by Al-Shabaab militants. India condemns terror incident and says New Delhi stands with Somalia. US announces $775 million additional military aid for Ukraine. Indian Air Force participates in exercise Pitch Black 2022 in Australia. In cricket, India beat Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in second ODI at Harare to seal 3-match series 2-0. And in Durand Cup football, Rajasthan United beat ATK Mohan Bagan and match between Chennaiyin FC and Army Red ends in a draw. India's Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Sarbananda Sonowal visited the Shahid Beheshti port at Chabahar in Iran on Saturday to review the progress of the port. He is on a 3-day visit to Iran and United Arab Emirates. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways in a statement said that in an effort to invigorate the potential of Chabahar port, Mr. Sonowal also handed over 6 mobile harbour cranes to Indian Ports Global Chabahar Free Trade Zone. Iranian Deputy Minister and Managing Director of Ports and Maritime Organization, Dr. Ali Akbar Safai, was also present on this occasion. Mr. Sonowal and Dr. Safai had a fruitful meeting on development of maritime and port cooperation between Iran and India. Both sides discussed the possibilities of trade and unlock trade potential between Central Asian countries with South Asian, ASEAN and even from Far East countries like Japan and Korea. It was also decided to form a joint technical committee for smooth functioning of the port. The meeting also addressed the future course of action towards development of the port. On the occasion, Mr. Sonowal said that India remains fully committed to develop the Chabahar port to realize the vision set during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Iran in 2016. Since India Ports Global Private Limited assumed operations of Shahid Beheshti port, it has handled over 4.8 million tons of bulk cargo. The 16th Foreign Office consultations between India and Singapore were held in Singapore on Friday. It was co-chaired by Secretary East in Ministry of External Affairs Saurabh Kumar. We have a report.
The two sides reviewed the entire gamut of bilateral relations and expressed satisfaction at the present level of engagements. They emphasized the importance of bilateral political exchanges to realize the full potential of the partnership. The delegations also discussed enhancing cooperation in a number of areas, including trade and investment, startups and innovation, fintech and smart cities. Defence cooperation between both countries was also reviewed. The two sides noted the increase in tourist arrivals from India in recent months and the need to further facilitate travel. Given that Singapore is the current country coordinator for India in ASEAN, the two sides exchanged views on the India-ASEAN engagements and raising of the relationship to a higher level. Views also exchanged on regional and international issues of mutual interest. The two sides reiterated the firm commitment to work towards further strengthening of India-Singapore multifaceted relations and deepening of the strategic partnership. With the report of Suparna, this is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay for World News, All India Radio, New Delhi.
BIMSTEC Secretary-General Tenzin Lechfeld will visit India from 22nd to the 25th of August. At the 5th Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation Summit held in Sri Lanka in March this year, leaders of the member states adopted its charter. BIMSTEC comprises Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand. India had stressed the importance of rapidly consolidating this newly created regional organization and to moving BIMSTEC cooperation to the next level. Mr. Tenzin Lechfeld will hold discussions with senior Indian officials on how to make the organization and cooperation forward in keeping with the mandate of the organization. India leads the security cooperation pillar on the BIMSTEC platform that includes disaster management, marine cooperation and energy security. India's Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is on a 4-day visit to Australia to strengthen Indo-Australian ties and explore the connect, collaborate and cooperate aspect in education and skill development. In a statement, Mr. Pradhan said reforms in India's education sector and the renewed vigour in India-Australia bilateral relations open up immense opportunities for both sides to establish the knowledge economy as a key pillar of cooperation. He expressed confidence that the visit will add momentum to the unity of purpose, help build transnational knowledge bridges, further broaden the engagements at all levels in all areas of learning. Mr. Pradhan said the visit will also help in skilling, research, innovation and entrepreneurship and deepen people-to-people connect. The minister will interact with the Indian diaspora on Sunday. On Monday, he will visit Western Sydney University to co-chair the 6th meeting of the Australia-India Education Council with his Australian counterpart, Ms. Jason Clare. An Indian Air Force contingent is participating in Exercise Pitch Black 2022 in Australia. It is being held from Friday to the 8th of September in Darwin. This is a biennial multinational exercise hosted by the Royal Australian Air Force. It is focusing on large force employment warfare. The exercise will see the participation of over 100 aircrafts and 2,500 military personnel from various air forces. The Indian Air Force contingent, led by Group Captain Y.P.S. Negi, comprises over 100 air warriors deployed with 4 Su-30 MKI fighter and 2 C-17 aircraft. They will undertake multi-domain air combat missions in a complex environment and will exchange best practices with the participating air forces.
India supplied the 10th tranche of medical assistance to Afghanistan on Saturday as part of its ongoing humanitarian assistance. It was handed over to the Indira Gandhi Hospital, Kabul. In view of the urgent appeals made by the United Nations to assist the Afghan people, New Delhi has so far supplied 32 tons of medical assistance in 10 batches, which include essential life-saving medicines, anti-TB medicines, 5 lakh doses of COVID vaccine. These medical consignments have been handed over to the World Health Organization and Indira Gandhi Children's Hospital, Kabul. The Indian Coast Guard rescued 10 Bangladeshi fishermen from the Bay of Bengal on Saturday. The Coast Guard ship Anmol rescued them 12 nautical miles from the international maritime boundary with Bangladesh in an operation which was continuing for the last 2 days. The Indian Coast Guard in a tweet said that the search for the remaining 2 missing Bangladeshi fishermen is in progress by its ships and aircraft. The fishermen had got caught in the cyclonic weather which started on 19th of August. They are being brought to Haldia for further formalities to return them back to Bangladesh. Meanwhile, the Indian Coast Guard team also coordinated in rescuing of 18 crew members of an Indian fishing boat.
In Somalia, at least 12 people have been killed after Al-Shabaab militants stormed the Hyatt Hotel in the capital, Mogadishu, on Friday night. Attackers detonated at least 2 explosives outside the hotel before entering the building and opening fire. Continued gunfire and explosions were reported on Saturday as security forces battled an unknown number of gunmen still inside holding hostages. Dozens of guests and staff members have been rescued. Muhammad, an intelligence officer, said that so far 12 people, mostly civilians, have died. The director of Mogadishu's main trauma hospital, Dr. Muhammad Abdurrahman Jama, told a news agency that at least 40 people have been injured. This is the first attack in the capital by Al-Shabaab since new President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud took office in May this year. Meanwhile, India has strongly condemned the attack in Mogadishu and expressed heartfelt condolences to the victims and families of this cowardly act of terrorism. MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said India stands with the government and people of Somalia in their fight against terrorism. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a discussion tackling the challenges of terrorism.
A targeted United States drone attack in the Afghan capital Kabul killed Ayman al-Zawahiri, one of the world's most wanted terrorists, on whose head there was a $25 million bounty also placed. Announcing the killing from the White House, US President Joe Biden said, "Now justice has been delivered and this terrorist leader is no more." Al-Zawahiri's killing concluded a 21-year-old global manhunt and marks the end of an era for the lethal terrorist organization. Zawahiri, an Egyptian trained surgeon, founded the Al-Qaeda bin Laden in 1988 and took over the organization after bin Laden's death in 2011. He is reputed to be the mastermind who helped coordinate the September 11, 2001 attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people. He is also meant to be among those responsible for the assassination of former Egyptian President Anwar al-Sadat nearly 4 decades ago. Al-Zawahiri had resurfaced recently earlier this summer and indicated various efforts at recruiting cadres in India. His presence in Afghanistan, however, also shows that the new Taliban regime has continued to maintain its links with Al-Qaeda and that the terrorist infrastructure in that country remains intact. We are joined by Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, who will explain to us the implications of this killing for India and for the region. While the killing is going to come of Al-Zawahiri is going to come as a relief to the civilized world, his presence in Afghanistan clearly indicates that the Taliban regime there has not delivered on its commitment to keep the country away from the global terrorist network. So what does killing particularly mean for India and for the region?
As you have said very rightly, he took up the reins of Al-Qaeda in 2011, a few months after Osama bin Laden was killed by the US SEALs. And he has been, of course, at the forefront of various terrorist attacks that have been taking place. Over the last 10 years, of course, he has been helping out the Taliban in its fight against the US forces in Afghanistan, against the ISAF forces in Afghanistan. And I think considerable credit for the fact that Taliban was able to come back into power in Kabul really goes to Ayman al-Zawahiri and Al-Qaeda. Of course, the Taliban rulers, and particularly whether it is Sirajuddin Haqqani or all the others who have been involved with this, they have been claiming that there is no threat, there is no danger to the civilized world from terrorist groups in Afghanistan. In fact, just in an interview that was given by Sirajuddin Haqqani to the CNN a few hours before this killing took place, he had mentioned that Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan is dead. He said Al-Qaeda does not exist in Afghanistan. So I think we really need to see, number one, that all the claims and the commitments that the Taliban dispensation has been making over the last 1 year, that it is quite clear that they have not stuck to their word which was given in Doha when the Doha Accords were signed, and also all their protestations of being against any terrorist group, that they are not going to support any terrorist group, that all those claims have fallen flat. Nilova.
Absolutely. Ashok, while they have been protesting even his killing and saying that the United States has reneged on its agreement signed at Doha with the Taliban, the fact actually remains, as you rightly pointed out, that the Taliban have completely reneged on all of their agreements with the others. And Al-Zawahiri's presence in the heart of Kabul clearly indicates that. But can we, how would this man's removal help India particularly in its war against terrorism? I mean, we have been trying our hardest to keep our region, our country and our region free of terrorist influences. Will this go a long way to that extent?
I think it will have a very significant salutary impact on the spread and rise of terrorism in the region. Of course, when there is a big body like the Al-Qaeda and the leadership goes, that really deals a body blow to that organization. And I think it will take it quite a long time for it to recover. Now, as far as Al-Qaeda is concerned, that is also, as you mentioned in your introductory comments also, they have, it's not only, of course, Al-Qaeda, it's also the Islamic State that has been making all these, saying that what are the actions that they are going to take against India in terms of, because of the policies that are being pursued, as they claim, by the Indian establishment, by the Indian government. So Al-Qaeda has also been making these claims that what are their plans as far as India is concerned. So I think that is going to get a big blow with the killing of Ayman al-Zawahiri. The second is that it will put also the Taliban administration, it will put them on the back foot. It will sort of, put them in a corner, because it has now become very clear that whatever they have been claiming, whatever they have been, the protestations that they have been making, that that has all been a smoke screen. That has all been, devoid of any accuracy or factual content. And their statements are going to be going forward. They are going to be treated with great suspicion and will not have any credibility. Lastly, I think the United States has also demonstrated by its action that although it might have left last year at the end of August, but they still continue to be engaged as far as this region is concerned. You would recall that the United States has been in very active deliberations and conversations with several of these Central Asian countries, particularly Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, whose foreign ministers have been in the United States in recent months, basically trying to see if they can have some over-the-horizon capabilities that can be established in those regions, in those countries. And also, as far as Tajikistan is concerned, because Tajikistan is the only country which has refused to engage in any manner whatsoever with the Taliban administration. So the president of Tajikistan was in Europe, was in New York. So I think they are also trying to see that the terrorism from Afghanistan does not go out to other countries.
Given these circumstances, Ashok, the man has been taken out in a very clean kind of way, one must admit, given what visuals, what one has been seeing. There hasn't been any great collateral damage and so on. So is this likely to also put, say, the Pakistani ISI establishment on the back foot? Because they have, of course, as we all know, been very close with the Taliban. And it is unlikely that the presence of somebody like an al-Zawahiri in Kabul would have been unknown to them.
Oh, you are very right, Nilova. I don't think that Pakistan and the ISI was oblivious of this fact. Not at all. You would recall that when these changes were taking place, then last year on 15th of August, the Taliban moved into Kabul. But at the beginning of September, on the 4th or 5th September, we had the ISI, DG ISI chief, Faiz Hamid. He had come to Kabul, and you would recall very well the sort of arrogance and hubris and insolence with which he conducted himself, saying that, he had come for a trade mission or something of that sort. So obviously the ISI has been involved very closely with the Taliban before, when they were fighting against the US forces, against the NATO forces. And ISI was also behind the attack on the Panjshir complex in early September last year. We have seen that the ISI and Taliban relationship in recent months has gone rather far. Even in fact, relations between Taliban and the Islamabad as well as Rawalpindi, they have not been particularly good, both because of the issue as far as the Durand Line is concerned, and also as far as the activities of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan are concerned. What the Afghan Taliban has said is that they will try to control the activities, but they have done nothing of that sort. They have tried to put the Pakistan establishment and TTP to come in contact. There have been very small-scale temporary ceasefires, but that has really not helped. But Pakistan has also been using the Al-Qaeda for its own purposes.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
This is All India Radio, giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
The United States government has announced additional military aid for Ukraine valued at up to $775 million. Officials said that the package will include ammunition for the high mobility artillery rocket systems known as HIMARS, 16 howitzers along with 36,000 rounds for the artillery and high-speed anti-radiation missiles that target radar systems. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the courage and strength of Ukraine's military and its people are extraordinary, and the United States will continue to provide additional systems and capabilities for Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tweeted on Friday to thank U.S. President Joe Biden for the decision. Adding that Ukraine will be free, Zelensky said, "We have taken another important step to defeat the aggressor." This would bring the total U.S. military aid sent to Ukraine to $10.6 billion since the Russian military attack on February the 24th. In Turkey, 16 people were killed in southeast of the country on Saturday when a bus crashed into emergency workers and journalists who were attending an earlier accident on a highway near the city of Gaziantep. Regional Governor Davut Gul said the dead included 3 firefighters, 4 emergency health workers and 2 drone operators from a Turkish news agency. Taiwan's defense ministry said 17 Chinese aircraft and 5 Chinese ships were detected operating around Taiwan on Saturday as Beijing continued military activities near the island. It said this included 4 aircraft that crossed the Taiwan state's median line, which in normal times acts as an unofficial barrier between the two sides.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ स्वतंत्रता के 75 वर्ष का उत्सव, जीवंत यात्रा की स्मृतियां, स्वतंत्र भारत की उपलब्धियां और कुछ रोमांचक पल। तो आप भी जुड़िए और सुनना न भूलें 15 अगस्त से प्रतिदिन हमारे FM गोल्ड 100.1 और दूसरे चैनलों पर आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ।
In today's episode, we bring you the story of Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
As the first Home Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Sardar Patel played the key role in the integration of the 565 princely states into the Indian Federation. Even today, he is remembered as the man who united India. Mahatma Gandhi had said to Patel that the problem of integration of the states is so difficult that he alone can solve it. Patel was considered a statesman of integrity with a practical acumen and resolve to accomplish a monumental task.
छोटे-छोटे जो वाड़े हैं उससे बहुत नुकसान होता है और जिस चीज से मुल्क को फायदा नहीं होता है इस चीज से आकर हमको खुद को भी नुकसान होता है। वो चीज हमें समझ के हमें जो हिंदुस्तान आज सदियों के बाद एक हुआ है और एक मौका मिला है और एक अवसर हमारे पास आया है, वो गुमाना नहीं चाहिए।
He invoked the patriotism of India's monarchs, asking them to join in the independence of the nation and act as responsible rulers who cared about the future of the people. While encouraging the rulers to act out of patriotism, he did not rule out force. He persuaded almost every princely state to accede to India.
जब सार्वभौम सत्ता हिंदुस्तान में से अपना बिस्तरा लपेट के चली और जब उसने ऐलान किया कि इधर पैरामाउंसी खत्म होती है, उस समय पर मुल्क में क्या होगा और मुल्क एक रहेगा या तो उसका टुकड़ा टुकड़ा हो जाएगा, उस बारे में बहुत लोगों का अलग अलग ख्याल था और बहुत लोग चिंता में गिरे थे। लेकिन जो राजा महाराजाओं थे उसमें से बहुतों ने काफी स्वदेशाभिमान बताया और भारत की सरकार को साथ दिया। उसके लिए मैं आज इन लोगों को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं।
Sardar Patel is also remembered as the patron saint of India's civil servants for having established the modern All India Services system.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune in to All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashwani ke saath.
Now on to sports. In cricket, India defeated Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in the second one-day international at Harare. The hosts set the target of 162 runs. The men in blue achieved the target with 146 balls remaining. Sanju Samson remained the top scorer with 43 runs in 39 balls. The Zimbabwe were all out for 161 runs in 38.1 overs. Shardar Thakur clinched 3 wickets for Indian side. Now India has the unassailable lead of 2-0 in the 3-match series. Interestingly, Zimbabwe cricket dedicated Saturday's game to the cause of children's cancer. They donated $500 and a Zimbabwe jersey to a 6-year-old. In Durand Cup football, Rajasthan United defeated ATK Mohan Bagan 3-2 at Salt Lake Stadium in Kolkata in Indian state of West Bengal on Saturday. Earlier, the match between Chennaiyin FC and Army Red ended in a draw at Homan Lampak Stadium, Imphal. Both the teams scored 2 goals each. And now let's listen to our special segment, Popuri.
Africa's migratory birds are threatened by changing weather patterns in the center and east of the continent that have depleted natural water systems and caused a devastating drought. Hotter and drier conditions due to climate change make it difficult for traveling species who are losing their water sources and breeding grounds. Roughly 10% of Africa's more than 2,000 bird species, including dozens of migratory birds, are threatened. As many as 20 species, such as the Madagascar fish eagle, the Taita falcon, and hooded vultures, are classed as critically endangered. Over 1/3 of them are especially vulnerable to climate change and extreme weather, an analysis by environmental group BirdLife International said. BirdLife Policy Coordinator Ken Morthy said that migratory birds are affected more than other groups of birds because they must keep on moving. A study by the United Nations Environment Agency and conservation group Wetlands International has found that an estimated 87% of African sites are at risk from climate change, a greater proportion than in Europe or Asia.
Around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Washington Post writes that Chinese leader asked US President Biden to prevent Pelosi from visiting Taiwan. The Financial Times writes that German central bank chief wants inflation to hit 70-year high. The Japan Times reports police to revise rules for VIP protection after Abe killing. The Himalayan Times says that the government and the private sector have urged Indian investors to invest in Nepal. A quick look at the headlines once again. India and Iran discuss maritime trade to expand trade between Central Asian countries with South Asia, ASEAN and Japan. 12 people killed in Mogadishu hotel attack by Al-Shabaab militants. India condemns terror incident and says New Delhi stands with Somalia. US announces $775 million additional military aid for Ukraine. Indian Air Force participates in exercise Pitch Black 2022 in Australia. In cricket, India beat Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in second one-day international at Harare to seal the 3-match series 2-0. And in Durand Cup football, Rajasthan United beat ATK Mohan Bagan and match between Chennaiyin FC and Army Red ends in a draw. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan Vaishno Jan by artists from Nigeria.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए रे पीर पराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे कोई मन परलोकमा सहुने वंदे निंदा न करे नीरे।
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.
Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Gaura Dhawanlal and with me is Ramya with the evening news. The headlines. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says China's disregard of border pacts casting a shadow on relations with India. Home Minister Amit Shah addresses public meeting in Telangana, assures farmers of special measures for marketing of organic produce. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says conversion of waste material to wealth vital for country's infrastructure development. Senior Congress leader Anand Sharma quits as chairman of steering committee of party's Himachal Pradesh unit. Pakistani intruder arrested near LOC in Rajouri district of Jammu and Kashmir. Government awards GI tag to Mithila Makhana to boost farmers' income. In Durand Cup football, Army Green defeats Northeast United FC 3-1 at Guwahati. Mohammedan Sporting defeat Jamshedpur FC 3-0 in Kolkata. And in cricket, India to take on Zimbabwe in third and final one-day international in Harare tomorrow. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said China has disregarded the border pact with India. He said the Galwan Valley standoff has been casting a shadow as ties between the two nations continue to go through a very difficult phase. Dr. Jaishankar was addressing the Indian community at Sao Paulo in Brazil today. The minister said, "It is no secret that India and China's relations are going through a very difficult phase, mainly because New Delhi has agreements with Beijing going back to the 1990s, which prohibit amassing of troops in the border areas." He said China has disregarded that. Dr. Jaishankar said that a relationship cannot be a one-way street and mutual respect has to be there in order to sustain it. He said China is India's neighbor and everybody wants to get along with their neighbor, but on reasonable terms.
Relationships are a two-way street. Lasting relationship cannot be a one-way street. So we need that mutual respect, we need that mutual sensitivity, we need that mutual interest. Right now, it's no secret, we are going through a very difficult phase, and mainly because we have agreements with China going back to the 1990s, which prohibits bringing, massing troops in the border areas. We have disregarded that. What happened in Galwan 2 years ago. So that problem has not been resolved, and that is clearly casting a shadow.
Recalling the success of Operation Ganga during the Ukraine and Russia conflict, the External Affairs Minister said, "This is an India which is capable of big things." He said, as India is celebrating 75 years of independence, the mood in the country is very optimistic. Dr. Jaishankar is in Brazil on the first leg of a three-nation visit to Latin American countries, including Argentina and Paraguay. The minister also thanked the Indian community for serving as an effective bridge between Brazil and India. He said, India-Brazil ties are defined by good sentiment, great goodwill and increasing cooperation. Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressed a public meeting at the Munugode Assembly constituency of Telangana this evening. Munugode Assembly constituency is expecting a by-election soon following the resignation of the sitting Congress legislator K. Rajagopala Reddy. Speaking at the rally, Home Minister Amit Shah called upon the people of Telangana to end TRS rule in the state. He said the BJP is the only alternative to the Telangana Rashtra Samiti TRS in the state. Mr. Shah said the KCR government was anti-farmer. He said the state government is not letting farmers avail the benefits of the PM Fasal Bima Yojana.
किसान को बीमे से दूर रखने का पाप केसीआर ने किया है। ये केसीआर सरकार किसान विरोधी है। हमने कहा जाड़ा चावल जो राज्य की पैदाश है वो केसीआर खरीदे, मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस पर खरीदे, मगर वो लेने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। मैं आज इस मंच से मेरे किसान भाइयों को कहकर जाता हूं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कमल निशान की सरकार बना दो। मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में तेलंगाना भाजपा सरकार हर किसान का हर किलो जाड़ा चावल खरीदने का वादा करती है।
The Home Minister said that if the BJP comes to power in the state, it will take Telangana ahead on the path of progress.
मोदी जी ने 2 लाख करोड़ से ज्यादा सहायता करने के बाद भी आज तेलंगाना ऋण में डूबा है। मैं आपको वादा कर जाता हूं, राजगोपाल रेड्डी को प्रचंड बहुमत से जिताइए, तेलंगाना में भाजपा सरकार बनाइए, पूरे देश की तरह तेलंगाना भी विकास के रास्ते पर चल पड़ेगा और जिन उद्देश्यों के लिए तेलंगाना की स्थापना की गई थी, वो सारे उद्देश्य तेलंगाना बीजेपी का मुख्यमंत्री हमारे महान नेता नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में समाप्त करेगा।
The Home Minister said leaders from other parties are joining the BJP as they are impressed by the principles of the party. Mr. Shah welcomed the sitting MLA K. Rajgopal Reddy, who resigned recently, and a few others into the party. The Union Home Minister is on a day-long visit to Telangana today. Earlier, Mr. Shah met with over a dozen farmers in Hyderabad. Farmers informed the Home Minister that they are facing losses as the Fasal Bima scheme is not being properly implemented in the state. The Home Minister assured them that special measures will be taken soon for the marketing of organic farm produce. He shared his experience of organic farming with the farmers and the need for strengthening the same. Mr. Shah also visited the house of senior party worker Satya Narayana in Sikandrabad, along with Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy, Party State President Bandi Sanjay Kumar, and National General Secretary in charge Telangana Tarun Chugh this afternoon. Mr. Shah has assured the BJP cadres that he stands with them and that they should confidently fight against the anti-people's rule in Telangana.
BJP National President Jagat Prakash Nadda has said that the alumni of any institute are a source of inspiration for new students as their achievements and accomplishments are exemplary examples for all. Mr. Nadda was addressing the Alumni Meet 2022 of Himachal Pradesh University held at the university campus in Shimla today. Addressing the event, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said, during last 53 years, the university made great achievements and has been accredited as an A-grade university. Mr. Thakur said, the university is also striving hard to achieve excellence in the field of sports and other co-curricular activities. The BJP today launched a scathing attack on Arvind Kejriwal government in Delhi and sought to know why the new excise policy was withdrawn if there was no corruption in the matter. Addressing a press conference in New Delhi, party spokesperson Gaurav Bhatia alleged that during the second phase of COVID pandemic, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal was busy indulging in corruption by signing new excise policy instead of focusing on hospital beds and medicines. He said Mr. Kejriwal should stop blaming law enforcement agencies as they are only doing their job.
कोविड की दूसरी लहर आई, श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरे देश की जनता के साथ खड़ी हो गई, दवाई सुनिश्चित करी, अस्पताल में बेड हो, ऑक्सीजन मिले। अरविंद केजरीवाल की भ्रष्टाचारी कलम आबकारी नीति पे दस्तखत करने में लगी थी। मनीष सिसोदिया वो अकाउंटेंट बन के ये देख रहे थे कि आम आदमी पार्टी के खजाने में जनता के पैसे की कितनी लूट आएगी।
Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal alleged that at a time when common man is battling with inflation and unemployment, the central government is busy using CBI and ED to settle political scores.
Senior Congress leader Anand Sharma has resigned from the chairmanship of the steering committee of the Himachal Pradesh Congress ahead of the state assembly elections. In a tweet, Mr. Sharma said, given the continuing exclusion and insults, as a self-respecting person, he was left with no choice. He, however, said that he is a lifelong congressman and will remain firm on his convictions. Union Highways and Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari has said that the conversion of waste material to wealth is needed for the country's infrastructure development. The minister was addressing the National Conference for Civil Engineers and Professionals from allied industries being organized by the Association of Consulting Civil Engineers in Mumbai today. Speaking at the event, Mr. Gadkari said research should be undertaken to find out economically viable and environmental-friendly alternatives for infrastructure projects. He stressed upon exploring the public-private mode for implementing infrastructure projects.
Union Minister of State for Home Nityanand Rai has said that the participation of women in police is increasing across the country and women are performing better in every field. Addressing the inaugural session of National Conference of Women Police NCWP at Raj Bhavan in Shimla, Mr. Rai said that the centre is trying to increase the number of women in the police force. He said that the objective of organizing this conference is to further develop the quality of leadership among women and to discuss the challenges faced by women police officers. The government today stated that there is no plan to import wheat into India and that the country has sufficient stocks to meet domestic requirements. Department of Food and Public Distribution clarified this in a tweet on reports about a possible import of wheat by the government. Media reports had claimed that the government is likely to buy wheat from overseas due to shortage of wheat and rising prices. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says China's disregard of border pacts casting a shadow on relations with India. Home Minister Amit Shah addresses public meeting in Telangana, assures farmers of special measures for marketing of organic produce. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says conversion of waste material to wealth vital for country's infrastructure development. Senior Congress leader Anand Sharma quits as chairman of steering committee of party's Himachal Pradesh unit. A Pakistani intruder arrested near LOC in Rajouri district of Jammu and Kashmir. Government awards GI tag to Mithila Makhana to boost farmers' income. In Durand Cup football, Army Green defeat Northeast United FC 3-1 at Guwahati. Mohammedan Sporting defeat Jamshedpur FC 3-0 in Kolkata. And in cricket, India to take on Zimbabwe in third and final one-day international in Harare tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AII News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ भाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. A Pakistani intruder was arrested by army troops near the line of control LOC in the Rajouri district of Jammu and Kashmir today. Our Jammu correspondent reports that the infiltrator sustained injuries when the army opened fire after observing suspicious movement from across the border in the Jhangarh area of Naushera sector. Senior Superintendent of Police of Rajouri district, Mohammad Aslam, informed that an intruder was shot at and was injured when he was trying to come near the LOC. The intruder was taken into custody and shifted to a medical facility for treatment. The India Met Department IMD has forecast more rainfall in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Talking to AIR, senior scientist of the India Met Department, R.K. Jenamani, said there is a deep depression over Madhya Pradesh which will lead to heavy rainfall tomorrow and on Tuesday.
अभी जो डिप्रेशन है मध्य प्रदेश से ऊपर छत्तीसगढ़ के पास है, जब वो जैसे ही आगे चलेगा तो रेन जो है 22 23 को बढ़ेगा। तो 22 23 के लिए हम लोग हैवी रेनफॉल वार्निंग उत्तराखंड, हिमाचल प्रदेश, जम्मू कश्मीर रखे हैं। और उसके साथ साथ प्लेन्स में जो राजस्थान एरिया है मध्य प्रदेश से नेक्स्ट 48 आवर्स के लिए हम लोग मेनली मध्य प्रदेश के लिए आज है 21 और 22 के लिए राजस्थान के लिए रेड कलर वार्निंग दे रहे हैं। बहुत ज्यादा बारिश होगा क्योंकि यहाँ एक डिप्रेशन बना हुआ है छत्तीसगढ़ के ऊपर जो राजस्थान इलाका को आएगा। तो इसके मतलब के प्रभाव में दिल्ली में भी 22 को रेन पड़ेगा।
Heavy rains triggering landslides and flash floods claimed 22 lives in Himachal Pradesh yesterday. Several people have also been injured in rain-related incidents, while 6 people are still missing in the state. Chakki rail bridge in Kangra district collapsed due to a flash flood yesterday. Talking to AIR News, Sudesh Kumar Mukta, Director, State Management Disaster Management Department, said that Mandi, Kangra and Chamba districts are the most affected, where maximum loss of life and property has been reported.
काफी तेज बारिश पूरे हिमाचल प्रदेश में हुई है। खासकर जो कुल्लू, मंडी, चंबा और बिलासपुर के क्षेत्र है, कांगड़ा के क्षेत्र है, उसमें बहुत ज्यादा अधिक बारिश हुई। अगर हम आंकड़ों के हिसाब देखें तो लगभग 300% ज्यादा बारिश एक दिन में यहाँ पर हो चुकी है। तो इसके कारण काफी भारी जान माल का नुकसान हिमाचल प्रदेश को झेलना पड़ा है। खासकर जो हमारा मंडी है, चंबा है और जो कांगड़ा है, उस जिले को ज्यादा नुकसान हुआ है। शिमला को भी नुकसान हुआ है। अगर टोटल मिला के देखा जाए तो 21 लोगों की यहाँ पर डेथ रिपोर्ट की गई है। तो लगभग 22 डेथ कल यहाँ पर हुई है। लोग अभी भी मिसिंग है और जो नुकसान है काफी मात्रा में हुआ है। तो आज तक अगर देखा जाए तो 1250 करोड़ रुपए, क्योंकि अभी कल के आंकड़े और इकट्ठे हो रहे हैं, तो 1250 करोड़ से ज्यादा नुकसान हिमाचल को झेलना पड़ा है। तो ओवरऑल देखा जाए तो मानसून इस बार काफी नुकसान हिमाचल प्रदेश को कर रहा है और जो प्रेडिक्शन है वो लगभग 15 सितंबर तक ये मानसून एक्टिव रहेगा। और आज भी कुछ एक जिलों में येलो अलर्ट है, कल भी येलो अलर्ट है। आकांक्षा और भी की जा रही है और एडवाइजरी जो डिफरेंट है गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा निकाली गई है।
Chief Minister Jairam Thakur has directed officials to ensure immediate relief and rescue operations besides deploying men and machinery at strategic points. He said that major roads in apple-growing areas and leading towards hospitals must be restored on priority. He also directed all the line departments to maintain proper coordination for effective rescue operations.
In Uttarakhand, 3 people were killed and 13 others missing after heavy rain inflicted major damage in Dehradun district and other parts of the state since Friday. Search for the missing people is underway. All the arrangements for food and lodging are being made by the government administration for the disaster-affected families. The work of opening the travel routes is going on. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has directed the concerned officers to make all arrangements by inspecting the disaster-affected areas continuously. In Jammu and Kashmir, the Yatra to Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine atop Trikuta Hill in Katra town of Riyasi district resumed today after it was briefly suspended as a precautionary measure due to inclement weather conditions. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that the battery car services in Himkoti Marg and ropeway to Bhaironji temple are also operating smoothly.
The central government has awarded a geographical indication GI tag to Mithila Makhana. With this move, growers will get the maximum price for their premium produce. Over 5 lakh farmers of Mithila region of Bihar will benefit from this decision. In a tweet, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said that Mithila Makhana is registered with the GI tag. Farmers will get a profit making which will become easier for them. Due to geographical indication tag to Mithila Makhana in the festive season, people outside Bihar will be able to use this auspicious material with reverence. Once a product gets this tag, any person or company cannot sell a similar item under that name. The tag is valid for a period of 10 years, following which it can be renewed. The University Grants Commission UGC has approved the guidelines for admission and supernumerary seats for international students in undergraduate and postgraduate programs in higher education institutions in India. The decision was made during the 560th meeting of the University Grants Commission. UGC Chairman Professor M. Jagadish Kumar said, internationalization of higher education is an essential aspect of the National Education Policy NEP 2020 and helps in integrating the international and intercultural dimensions in higher education. The UGC also brought out guidelines for the establishment of research and development cells, RDCs, in universities and colleges. These guidelines provide a clear-cut roadmap for the establishment of RDCs with its objectives and functions. In a series of tweets, the UGC chairman said the establishment of research and development cells in higher education institutions will enable the attainment of targets of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke Saath, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. Starting 15th August, the series will be broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of the Presidents of India who served the nation from the 26th of January 1950 to 25th of July 1987.
The President is the constitutional head of the state of India and the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. The President is referred to as a first citizen of the country. There have been 15 presidents since the post was established when India was declared as a republic with the adoption of the Constitution in 1950. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first president of the country who held the post from 26th of January 1950 to the 13th of May 1962.
We have up to now been taking a pledge to achieve freedom and to undergo all sufferings and sacrifices for it. Time has come when we have to take a pledge of another kind. Let no one imagine that the time for work and sacrifice is gone and the time for enjoying the fruits thereof has come. Let us realize that the demand on our enthusiasm and capacity for an unselfish work in the future will be as great as, if not greater than, what it has ever been before. We have therefore to dedicate ourselves once again to the great cause that beckons us. The task is great, the times are propitious.
Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was a president from the 13th of May 1962 to the 13th of May 1967.
In our constitution it is laid down that we have to build a civilized society which is based on the freedom of the human spirit, economic opportunities for all, and social justice.
Zakir Hussain held the post from the 13th of May 1967 to the 3rd of May 1969.
I pledge my loyalty to my country irrespective of region or language. I pledge myself to work for its strength and progress. The whole of Bharat is my home and the people are my family.
Muhammad Hidayatullah was the acting president from the 20th of July 1969 to the 24th of August 1969. V.V. Giri was elected as the president on the 24th of August 1969 and he continued till the 24th of August 1974.
Do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of India and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect and defend the Constitution and the law, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of India.
Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad became the president on the 24th of August 1974 and held the post till the 11th of February 1977.
Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad do swear in the name of God that I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
B.D. Jatti was the acting president from the 11th of February 1977 to the 25th of July 1977. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy was elected as the president on the 25th of July 1977 and he continued till the 25th of July 1982.
I, Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, do swear in the name of God that I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
Gyani Zail Singh served as a president from the 25th of July 1982 to the 25th of July 1987.
I, Zail Singh, do swear in the name of God that I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
In tomorrow's episode, we will bring you the story of the presidents who served the nation from 25th of July 1987 onwards. Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke saath can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So, tune into All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke saath.
The daughter of an eminent Russian ideologue has been killed in a suspected car bomb attack outside Moscow. Russian state investigators said today. Investigators said Daria Dugina, daughter of prominent ideologue Alexander Dugin, was killed last evening after a suspected explosive device blew up her Toyota Land Cruiser she was driving. The Russian Foreign Ministry speculated that Ukraine might have been behind the attack. However, Ukraine has denied any involvement. The head of Russia's investigative committee ordered the institution's central branch to take over the investigation. Alexander Dugin, Daria's father, has long advocated the unification of Russian-speaking and other territories in a vast new Russian empire.
The governor of Indiana arrived in Taipei on Sunday. He becomes the latest U.S. official to visit Taiwan and defying pressure from China for such trips to not happen. Taiwan's presidential office said Governor Eric Holcomb will meet President Tsai Ing-wen tomorrow morning. Mr. Holcomb tweeted that he would also be visiting South Korea. China claims democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory, despite Taipei's strong objections. It has been carrying out war games and drills near Taiwan since U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made a two-day visit to Taipei earlier this month. Last week, the second group of U.S. lawmakers visited Taiwan. Meanwhile, Taiwan's defense ministry said 12 Chinese aircrafts and 5 Chinese ships were detected operating around Taiwan on Sunday, including 5 aircrafts that crossed the Taiwan Strait median line as Beijing continued military activities near the island.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has tested positive for COVID-19 a week before the leader was expected to attend an African Development Conference in Tunisia. An official from the Prime Minister's Office of Japan said Prime Minister Kishida took a PCR test today after experiencing mild temperature and a cough. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has wished the Japanese Prime Minister a speedy recovery.
In Durand Cup football, Army Green defeated Northeast United FC in Guwahati by 3-1. It was Northeast United FC's second consecutive defeat in the tournament. In the second match, the winning streak of the local giants Mohammedan Sporting continued as they defeated Jamshedpur FC 3-0 in Kolkata. Jamshedpur FC put up a strong fight, but it was the superior Mohammedan FC who got the better of them with better possessions and smarter strategy throughout. In cricket, India will take on Zimbabwe in the final one-day international of the 3-match series in Harare tomorrow. The match will begin at 12:45 p.m. Indian time. India have gained an unassailable 2-0 lead over Zimbabwe after claiming victories in first 2 matches. In the second ODI, which was played yesterday at Harare Sports Club, India defeated Zimbabwe by 5 wickets. While the visitors will be eyeing a clean sweep, for Zimbabwe, it will be game to earn a consolation win.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Mumbai is likely to have generally cloudy skies with moderate rain. Kolkata is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Chennai will witness generally cloudy skies. Srinagar and Muzaffarabad are expected to have partly cloudy skies. Jammu will have mainly clear skies, becoming partly cloudy towards the afternoon or evening. Leh will have mainly clear skies. Gilgit will have a cloudy sky with the possibility of rain, thunderstorms or dust storms. In the south, Hyderabad will experience a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Bengaluru, Thiruvananthapuram will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In the northeast, Guwahati will have partly cloudy skies with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Imphal, Aizawl, Shillong, Gangtok, Kohima and Itanagar will have partly cloudy skies with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now, before we close, the headlines once again. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says China's disregard of border pacts casting shadow on relations with India. Home Minister Amit Shah addresses public meeting in Telangana, assures farmers of special measures for marketing of organic produce. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says conversion of waste material to wealth vital for country's infrastructure development. Senior Congress leader Anand Sharma quits as chairman of steering committee of party's Himachal Pradesh unit. A Pakistani intruder arrested near LOC in Rajouri district of Jammu and Kashmir. Government awards GI tag to Mithila Makhana to boost farmers' income. In Durand Cup football, Army Green defeat North East United FC 3-1 at Guwahati. Mohammedan Sporting beat Jamshedpur FC 3-0 in Kolkata. And in cricket, India to take on Zimbabwe in third and final one-day international in Harare tomorrow. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.